Hello and welcome to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast with your host, Kimberly Dunn of Idlewild Horsemanship and Mindset Coaching. This podcast is here to bring you the very best in tips, tricks, and advice to help you better understand yourself, your mindset, and your horse, because your horsemanship starts with you. Let's go. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast. I'm delighted to have you here. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful week. Can you believe that it is December? Oh, I can't flipping heck. And do you know what is exciting about it being December though? The beginning of December. By the time you listen to this, let me just check the dates here by the time you listen to this, it's going to be Friday the 5th that this is out. And that means next week, my book, I went a bit high-pitched then, oh goodness. On the 9th is the book release day. My book, The Equestrian's Guide to Confidence and Connection, is going to be out on Amazon. Oh my goodness. It's insane. So I would love, I'm pretty sure, so by the time you listen to this, I'll know a bit more. I'm not sure if you can pre-order it or not. If you can, head over there now, get it pre-ordered. If not, if you buy it on the day, that would be amazing. If you want to buy it, you don't have to, of course, but it is going to be amazing. I'll talk more about it on the release week. I probably will share a bit more about it, but it is an absolute labour of love. I have been writing it all year. It is a guide specifically for equestrians to help you to feel more confident and connected with your horse. So it takes you through loads of different steps to help you better understand yourself and your mindset, why you think the way you do, why you react the way you do, and how you can shift that so that you are more confident with your horse. It's also got tips in there in better connecting with your horse so that you finish the book having a better understanding of yourself and the tools to use to create your own confidence and connection with your horse. And kind of sprinkled throughout as well as like the journal prompts and the exercises and all of the cool stuff is little bits of me in there and little bits of my story and my time with horses, just to offer a bit of interest, I guess, and and to keep it relatable, because the last thing I want is for you to read this book and be bored, or for it to be too sciencey, or just something that you can't really kind of get your teeth into. So hopefully I have created something that you can get your teeth into, that is an easy read, that does what it's supposed to, in that you finish it and you feel good and you feel confident and you feel ready to go and enjoy your horse again. And at the end of the book as well, there is a 7-day kickstart guide to, really getting you motivated and on your path to feeling confidence again. So it will be available on Amazon on December the 9th. It is $11.99 if you're in the UK. It will be available worldwide as well. So it's on Amazon everywhere. It's also available to distributors as well in the UK and the US. So if you own a horsey shop and you want to sell it, buy it up and go sell it. It's really, really exciting. I still can't believe that I've done it, that I've got to the end of the year and I've done what I wanted to do, and it's happening and it's coming out, and it just blows my mind that it's happening. Honestly, it's so weird. In fact, it's making my eyes water a bit now I'm talking about it. Totes emotion. Anyway, more on that next week. I'll probably read like a chapter on it or something, or I don't know. But get excited, because I'm excited. Anyway, enough about that. Let's dive into this week's episode. So this week, I'm going to be talking about the power of pause. It is another thing. Last week in client calls, see, you guys just inspire me all the time. So last week's episode was inspired by a conversation I had with a client. This week's episode was inspired by a conversation I had with another client, which is about the power of pause and using pauses in the time that you use to train or ride your horse. Because it is so powerful. So I'm going to talk about why it actually matters and how it can help you accelerate your training and create a better connection with your horse. And it's so important to talk about because we live in a world, especially the horse world, where we're just obsessed with doing and achieving. But actually, the real magic happens in those moments where we don't do anything, in those moments of pause, of that where we just allow things to land, where we allow things to land for ourselves and for our horses, and then we carry on rather than just do. And I used to be like, I remember back in the day when I first started teaching, and I mean teaching English stuff, like classical English writing, when I was like early 20s, when I thought that that's what I needed to be doing. I remember feeling pressure all the time to keep moving and keep doing. And I've got to fill the lesson with stuff. And if a person is stood still for too long, that's bad. And now I'm totally the opposite. So yeah, and it's just so important, because if we don't allow those moments of pause, we're missing out on something really powerful, really misunderstood, and a really, really transformative tool that we can use in our horsemanship and our time with our horses. So, without further ado, let's talk about why pausing matters and kind of dive a bit into the nerves and the neuroscience of what's going on here. So, the thing is with horses is they learn during processing. So in those moments where their brain can actually function and tick over, not during the actual cue that we're giving them. Okay. And pausing allows the nervous system to flip from sympathetic, so where they're kind of everything's a bit more heightened, to parasympathetic. So that then that relaxation allows your horse to take on information, to bank it, to remember it, and to then use it later on. And connection, what we're ultimately looking for with our horses in that partnership, that grows in stillness, because both your brains and your nervous systems can catch up with what you're doing. All right. So some examples for you to kind of help this land is, when you stand with your horse, I don't know, well, you maybe have never done this. If you haven't done this, do it. If you have done this, then you'll know what I mean. It's where you stand with your horse for a moment. So say, I don't know, you've just been working on something and you stop and stand. You just allow your horse to just stand there. And you'll notice after a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, they might have a lick and a chew. They might yawn. They might shake their head. They might do one of those massive yawns where their eyes roll back in their head. And that's them releasing tension and tuning back into their relaxed state. And that means then they're in a better place to actually process what's going on and to understand what's going on. It might be when you, as a rider in a lesson or something, when you actually breathe for the first time, because how often do you hold your breath when you're riding or when you're in a lesson or in a competition or a clinic? And it's that moment, the horse or you have that moment of, oh, right, that's what you meant. When something actually clicks. And let me tell you, that's only going to happen if you're in a relaxed state, not if you're tense. Same for your horse. Okay. And where I was talking to my client about this, or she was sharing, because we'd spoken about this. She's a enlightened equestrian client, and so we've been working a lot on. We're at the beginning of the time together, so we're working a lot on kind of, creating more understanding around our mindset and our horse's mindset and how we learn, and so she's been now bringing in moments of pause with her horse, rather than keep going in groundwork. Because what would happen if and this happens a lot, and with most people, if your horse isn't getting something, and they're offering different things, or it can seem like they're just not listening, and then you get frustrated So if you imagine you're both like climbing ladders of frustration. So you get frustrated and then your horse starts to shut down because they're like, okay, now there's like a different energy here and I cannot function with that. So then they do even more. Then you do even more and get more reactive. Then your horse gets more reactive and you're both kind of like going up and up the ladder until you meet. And then you have some kind of, explosion one way or another, where either, your horse is like extra pushy or offers different, maybe rearing, biting, bucking, all the horrible stuff, because you've both been just stacking those like little triggers up and up and up and up until one of you has a meltdown. And what happens then? Then that chips away at your confidence, at your horse's confidence too, and at the trust between you both. Okay. Whereas if you just allowed a moment of pause to reset, you reset, your horse reset, and it doesn't have to take long. It's just a minute. You breathe, let your horse breathe, and then start again. And suddenly you've got rid of all those little stacking bits that you've been climbing. You start at the bottom, you reset, and you go again. The power in that is insane. And what I really want to, I've gone off the piece here a little bit, but off my notes. But what I really want to hammer home here is this thing, because we're all in this conditioning of, if you stop, the horse wins. And that is not the case. First of all, you are not in a fight. This is not a fight for who is the winner here. This is about regulation, and this is about creating room for understanding with your horse. Okay. This isn't about who wins. This is about creating room for understanding. And that understanding comes from a regulated nervous system, which comes from a pause when you need it. All right. Okay. So where we go wrong a lot of the time is rushing through cues, doing one more repetition of something, getting tense. We get tense when the horse gets stuck or when the horse offers different answers that we're not looking for. Rewarding only movement, not thoughtfulness. So an example of this might be, you might not know, when we teach our horses the side pass, for instance, side pass can be a really challenging thing for some horses because we're asking them to move sideways, not forwards. And we always, as a general rule, horses will know when you apply some sort of pressure. So say, for instance, in the side pass, your whip is out across the length of the horse's body and you're just kind of wiggling it, So normally your horse would think, right, okay, that means go forward. Okay. But then you're not allowing them to go forward because you want them to go sideways. So then the horse feels a bit like, oh my God, you're putting pressure on. And normally that means go forward. But now you're making me just stand still. And it can be quite stressful for your horse because they just don't know what you mean. And so here it's really, really important that you reward the thought of them moving sideways. So if you can see your horse even just shifts their weight one way, even just a shift of that, you stop and you reward them. And whenever I teach people to teach the side pass, I'm always saying, right, stop, walk away and let them reset, because it can be quite stressful for your horse. And the thing is, if you keep that pressure on and if you just ignore that thought and you keep going, the side pass becomes a really stressful thing for your horse. And that's where you get bursts of, them walking over you or blasting one way or the other or whatever. So that's where it's really important that you think about rewarding those tiny little tries from your horse and not just, oh, okay, I'm teaching the side pass, so I want 3 steps of it before we're going to stop. No, break it down. We just want the thought first and then we'll go from there. All right. Anyway, that was a bit sidetrack as well. Okay, so this is a big one with where we go wrong as well, is fearing silence or stillness. And again, that is coming from that conditioning of we need to do and go in our sessions with our horses. We do not. Progress is not in the quantity of the things you do, it's in the quality. Whew, profound. Okay, so if you are always feeling the space. It's like if you're on a date, say, and you just talk, but you never actually allow the person to talk back or say something. It's very one way, isn't it? So if you are allowing space, your horse gets a chance to process and talk back. And when I say talk back, we're not talking like, talking back as in, no, talking back as in, they can breathe, they can process, they can give that connection, that energetic connection, something back. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, so how can we bring in the pause then? If it's so wonderful, how do we do it? So here's how we can bring in the pause into your sessions. So a 3 to 5 bloody hell. 3 to 5 second mini pause after each try. I have seen some science behind this somewhere, and I cannot remember where, but I saw someone share once. There is science actually behind a 3-second rule, or a 3-try rule. Is it 3-try or 3 second? I can't remember. One or the other. I've probably read about this as well. I just can't remember today. So apologies. But yeah, so I generally will like to anyway. So if you get something and you get it right, unless it's been like a whole massive faff getting it right and you just want to quit there, or do it 3 times, but then allow 3 to 5 seconds after each try to let your horse go, oh, okay, and process. Okay. A full 20 to 30 second processing digest when the horse shows confusion or tries. So say, for instance, you have been trying to teach something and it's just been a bit of a faff and your horse really hasn't understood it. Like, if you finally get some movement in the right direction, even if it's accidental, stop for 20 to 30 seconds and just really let them go, oh, okay. Because the chances are, if they're not getting it and they've been offering loads of other different things, there's a level of stress there because they're trying to find the answer. So giving them that just relaxation for a second is going to allow them to relax. So if you imagine, actually, and a cool analogy has just dropped in my head. So this is in relation to me and maths. I talk about this in the book. So if someone asks you a maths question and they're like, what's, I don't know, 29 times 30? And then you're like, oh, okay. And you're trying to come up with the answer. And then you come up with the answer and then they're like, right, okay, what's 65 times 7? And then you're coming up with the answer. And then, okay, and they keep asking you questions. Like, how stressful is that? Your brain is trying to find the answer, but then you're bombarded with other questions and it gets your heart rate up. It gets your stress level up because you're like, flipping heck, I can't, let me process this. Same thing with your horse. Okay. Right. So how else can we use the pause? Dropping the rope or the reins slightly to remove pressure. So if you ride Western, the chances are you are pretty good with pressure and release and dropping the rope, dropping the reins and just letting them just relax. If you ride English, chances are this doesn't happen as much. I would invite you to try it as much as possible because I know we get scared about dropping the contact. Dropping the contact does not mean your horse can't hear you and you've magically disappeared off their back. Okay, they know you're there. But what you're allowing is just a moment of pause. Again, just letting them be for a moment. So I'd invite you to start bringing that in now and then, practicing it. Okay, soft eyes, soft breath, soft energy. So when you do give that pause, you soften. So just soften your eyes. Notice your breathing. Try and soften your energy. If you've been very assertive and very like, come on, let's go, just think about relaxing for a moment, because the more you relax in that moment of pause, the more your horse can relax. Okay. So try not to be like, all right, okay, and next we're going to do this. Just relax for a second. This is as much about you relaxing as it is about them. And again, rewarding the thought before the movement. Okay. That's a massive game changer. Noticing your horse thinking about things and trying and rewarding the energy of that. Big game changer. Okay. So it's just really, really important for you to remember that a pause, it's not lost time. Okay. It doesn't mean you're missing out on, more things you could be doing. Oh my God, taking it slow and bringing in pauses will get you to where you want to be much faster than packing loads into a session and not stopping ever will. Because it's the moment that you allow the learning to actually land. Okay. So the result of this that we are looking for, that I am yammering on about, is you will have a horse that softens sooner. Okay, that offers you softness a lot quicker through that pause. You will find that you are having fewer quote unquote arguments with your horse because you're both regulated. Okay, you're both calm. You will find, coming back to that reacting instead of responding, there is more response happening than reaction from both you and your horse. All right. There will be clearer communication with you both because you're both, again, responding instead of reacting. You will find that you start to feel calmer, more present, and more attuned, and so does your horse. This really is a win-win, this. It really is. And you will find that training sessions with your horse feel like a conversation and not a battle, because it should not be a battle with your horse. It should be a conversation. And you taking the power, the moment to engage with the power of pause is going to help you so much just in your own confidence, in your own calm, and your trust with your horse. Like, I cannot tell you how good this stuff is. So I hope that me having a little rant about this week has shown you the power of actually pausing, like how powerful it is and how much it can help you with your horse. So if you did find it helpful, please share away and tag me if you do share it. And I would love it if you haven't already to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review if you haven't done it yet, and stay along for the ride. And of course, again, the book's out next week, people. So mark it in your diary. I'm not sure if you can pre-order. If you can, pre-order. It's on Amazon. What is it called? The Equestrian's Guide to Confidence and Connection, 9th of December, $11.99, 12 chapters of absolute gold if you're looking to improve your confidence and your connection with your horse. Oh my goodness. And there is actually a full chapter on nervous system awareness, on timing and connection, on all of that stuff. So you will find it helpful, I'm sure. That's all for now. I will see you in another episode next week. I hope you enjoyed this week and have a wonderful weekend.